Welcome to GenAI Futurecast. I'm your host, Khush. In the world of high-level technology, there's a big difference between having a tool and having a strategy. Today, we're joined by a leader who bridges that gap. Lu Sancea is a principal technology architect and specialist in strategy, architecture, and integration. He's a visionary responsible for designing the complex digital frameworks that allow global organizations to run securely and at scale. We're going to discuss the discipline required to architect for a Gen AI world and what it takes to lead through the most significant technological shift of our time. Mr. Lu, thank you for joining me. It's a distinct honor to have you on the show. As a principal architect, you look at technology through a wide angle lens, seeing how every individual piece affects the ecosystem. Before we get into this episode, we would love for you to introduce yourself.
Fantastic. I am Mama Lu Sancea, but everybody calls me Lu. And I am the principal technology architect at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. Been in the position for about a year now and have been learning a lot and working with all different types of business areas and trying to help them do their best work.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, should we go on the first question?
Absolutely. I'm ready to rock.
The role of a principal technology architect is critical in any digital transformation. For our listeners, how to define enterprise architecture and why it is the foundation for everything a company does with AI.
How do I define enterprise architecture? So when I think about EA, so that's short for enterprise architecture. I'll kind of flow between the two. I think about business strategy married to technology strategy and data. So a lot of the time I am thinking about how a business is going to leverage whichever technologies they have in the overall organization and think about the how that data is going to be presented in the app in the solutions and how they all fit together. So I have a broad way of looking at architecture, but also I have to have an understanding of all these different technologies that are coming through. And as you know, there's a lot of technology out there.
Yeah. And there's so much tech, like it's all here and it's in our phone. It's what we're recording on. It's everywhere.
It's really cool. It's an
Yeah.
exciting field to be in, just technology in general. You're never bored, and things change so fast that it's nearly impossible to ever be bored.
Okay, so integration is most a difficult part of your work. How do you approach the challenge of connecting generative AI into a company's existing legacy systems without breaking the stability they built over decades?
And that is one of the biggest things that I have to think about. So in architecture, everything is a trade-off. So if you make one decision, there's probably going to be positive and negatives for that decision, and every decision that you make has the same thing. So if there are significant legacy systems and a company wants to add a new tool or a new service into that organization, they have to think about the resources that are going to be supporting that technology in your organizations. Let's say you're adding some new hardware that is going to be producing widgets. You have a legacy system that's going to feed information into that new product that you're adding in. Well, what does that look like? You have to understand that new product that you're putting into the system, and you have to break down all of the stages of implementation and how your team who works at the company is going to interface with that. And then you build out a plan and you figure out what hurdles you have to jump through, and you design solutions in order to get through that. Sometimes it's easier than others. Like some things are easier than others. And so that's why I get to enjoy my job, trying to figure out those problems.
So, how do you use GenAI at work, and which one do you mainly use for your job?
For my job. So there are different types of Gen AI that we use. Some of them are going to be like AI code editors. So if you're familiar with like like a cursor or those types of tools. So we use those from time to time. I don't get to do them all the time, which is really, really painful for me because I'm a developer at heart, but we use those types of tools. Then there are things like Copilot. So being able to read through email and give me a summary of what the email is. We use those types of tools. Those are really only the only types of tools that I use at work because of how security focused we are there. Outside of work is a different story, sir. So outside of work, I use tons and tons of AI tools to do things that I think are fun, and I'll use X tool to do whatever. In work, I only use those two, but I can totally talk about my out of work tools.
That
So,
sounds really fun.
have you ever used Gemini to make your own uh, pro, code applications? Have you ever used Gemini and you pasted all the code into something and then you use the app at all?
Yeah. I have built 5 applications outside of work, 1 application at work using AI code tools. So at work it was kind of it was kind of a boring project. It was just an integration between 2 systems. So really not a whole lot of code that was generated, but outside of work I've built several applications. One was um so think of it, you have a spreadsheet and it has a whole bunch of numbers and columns and what have you. I built this tool so that I can convert that into graphs and charts without having to know how to use all the graph and charting tools out in the world. I played a lot with AI stuff, and I have probably about 15 or so more things and ideas that I'm going to do around mobile app development.
So, what kind of application can you build for kids? If you were able to, what would it be?
Man, so I am a big fan of words. So I would probably build something that would allow kids to learn about some of the cool words that exist in the English language. I have a character called Wordle, and he like I use him to kind of make videos about words, and I would likely do something like that, but have it on your app, like an app on your phone that you could open it up and it would teach you words and where they come from and where they were derived from, all that kind of stuff. Because I'm a word nerd. So that would be the first thing that I would do if I was going to build an app for kids. I think the second thing would be a game. I haven't built a game yet, and I want to learn.
I have built a Geometry Dash like game, and I published it to the internet. Saying
Yeah.
it was AI generated, so it was super cool to make.
So I'm not familiar with Geometry Dash. So what is that?
Geometry Dash is like a game where you're a block and you jump over spikes while there's music. It syncs with the music. I made that with AI.
Oh, that's awesome. After we're done, send me the link so I can go check it out.
Yeah, okay. So, when in a professional environment, trust is everything. How do you architect guardrails that allow for innovation while maintaining strict security privacy?
Okay. It depends on what the business is trying to do, but guardrails are usually set based off of some of the security controls that we use at work. And so it's a little easier to do them and to build off of those because we're pretty security conscious at work. But to answer this question, a lot of the times it's what type of data are the business folks going to be working with? Is it public information? Is it going to have people's names and addresses in there? Like, are there going to be sensitive pieces of information that you want to save? And you break out all of the different types of data that are going to be used. And you start thinking about how secure should this portion be versus this portion? And then how is it going to interrelate with the application? And then you build out from there. So,
Yeah, you have to keep everything safe if you are
yeah.
an organization like the Fed. So, what should what should the security of AI be for like a techie kid like me or a non-techie kid, which is not me?
Okay. So I'll frame this with my kids because I have 3 young ladies, and whenever they're interacting with some new AI tool or what have you, I always tell them that whatever you put into that system is likely going to be consumed and saved into the broader model. So all these AI tools are constantly getting trained with the information people are putting in them. And so that information is important to be very certain that you don't want that type of information to make it out into the world somewhere. So be careful of that. The types of things that you put in there matter. Don't put your name, address, don't put your phone number, don't put like all of those types of
Yeah.
things you do not want to put into the model. And pictures, if you don't want your pictures to show up on the internet, don't put them into a system like that. So usually those are the base things that I put in there. And then a little more broader, like let's say you have intellectual property. So something that you came up with and you don't want that information to be found on the internet or inside of a model getting a response from an AI model, you probably don't want to put that stuff in there. I'll give you an example. So let's say you took your game and you wanted to sell that game and you putting pieces of it into an AI model to answer questions, but it wasn't what we call an air gapped system. So it wasn't local to just you. Anybody that's using the model and the service could use it, right? So if your information makes it into the I as a seasoned user of these tools and know how to prompt for specific responses, I would be able to get your information if I knew that you had used this service, right? So I could prompt the engine and get a response based off of what you put in there. So you be very careful with what you put in there. Doesn't matter if you think it's anonymized, nothing is really anonymized on the internet.
And I made a video about this. Google is actually using our emails, if we use Gmail, to train their AI models. Yeah, smart features. They showed how to turn it on and turn it off. And
Excellent.
it's like one of the core features of autocorrect grammar. So Google kind of made a big move there. If you turn off smart features, you don't have autocorrect, you don't have grammar.
Yep. And a lot of people don't know about that little feature. They're just blissfully unaware. It's useful, but it can get you in trouble if you don't know.
Okay, so let's move to our rapid fire round. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
One word to describe the future of enterprise AI.
Exciting.
The most critical layer of the modern tech stack.
Oh my gosh, data.
The best piece of professional advice you've ever received.
Measure twice, cut once.
Okay, that was a fun rapid fire round. It was quick. Yeah. So, Mr. Lu, thank you for sharing your expertise with us. You've shown us that while the tools are constantly changing, the principles of sound architecture, strategic vision, and disciplined leadership are truly what drive the future. To everyone listening, stay curious and stay disciplined. And remember, the future isn't just coming, it's being built by people like you. This was Genuine Futurecast, hosted by Khush, powered by Curiosity. See you next time.